What's going on, everyone? This is Dom, and today we're taking a look at probably the two most popular consumer drones out there. We have the DJI Mavic Pro and the GoPro Karma, and this one's actually back on sale again after a huge recall. It had a big issue, but all that has been taken care of. Links below if you want to find out more about the problems that this thing had, but we're gonna put these two head to head and see which offers the most for your money. So first up, we're taking a look at the DJI Mavic Pro, and as you can see, this thing in its collapsed form is very tiny, and it just folds out just like this. Flop open the legs and you have yourself a full-sized drone ready to go. But it's cool because it compacts down much smaller than the Karma, which in my opinion is awesome because, well, I can travel with this thing anywhere. I can throw it in a backpack, have the drone right here, the controller right here, and everything just fits right in a bag, just like that. And even the propellers come off too, and I'm sure that's recommended. They come off very easily. You just have to kind of twist it and pull off, and then you have your propeller right here. So taking a look at the controller here, as you can see, it's very tiny. There's a little display up here on the front. You have the antennas, which kind of fold out like this, and you have the bottom portion, which folds out to allow you to attach a smartphone. The cool thing is you can actually fly this without a smartphone attached, though you are missing out on some features of being able to control the camera and actually see what the camera is seeing. That's a lot of what the app provides on a smartphone with this controller. So it's actually a nice thing to pair it up with that, but you don't absolutely need to. Now, I like this controller because it is compact. It actually feels nice. It's got some nice rubber grips on the backside, which I'm a big fan of. And overall, it's just very simple and easy to use, and I think a lot of people can appreciate that. As I said, with the smartphone connected, you have a view of the camera on the screen within the app, which is extremely helpful in my opinion because you have the ability to tap to focus here. We can change things like the ISO and the shutter speed. We have all of our adjustments here within the app to make any kind of manual adjustments to the video quality that we want. And this does shoot up to 4K 30 in case you are interested in resolution, but you can go all the way down if you'd like as well. Getting this thing up in the air is actually very simple as well. So we do have the automatic takeoff mode, which you can press and slide to take off, and it'll rise it up to 4 feet if that's your thing, or you can manually do it by just crossing both of these controls inward. You have your propeller spinning, and you can go ahead and take off from there, which obviously I'm not going to do right now. So as you can see here, we do have the lights all around the Mavic, so you can see it in the sky, so other aircrafts can see it in the sky. But one cool thing with the Mavic Pros, we do have obstacle avoidance. So if you're flying towards something, it will actually notice that there's something in its path and it will stop before you hit an object. Same goes with the bottom. So if you're getting too close to the ground, it won't let it go so far because there are sensors on the bottom that will let the Mavic know that it's too close to an object. It's a very awesome feature in my opinion. We do also have this little bubble on the front, which is actually used to block the camera from getting damaged, but personally I recommend that you take this off when you're flying. It just has a little clip right here and you can pop it off and you won't get any glare or anything that is created by this thing, like through the sun or things like that. It's helpful to be able to take it off. I recommend putting it back on when you put this thing away in a case or a backpack just to protect the gimbal and the camera, but it's better with it off all around just for shooting video. So let's talk about some specs of the Mavic Pro in terms of flying it. So the top speed on this guy in sport mode is 40 miles per hour. Now there are different modes for different types of flying, but it also has a theoretical distance of about 4 miles out. You know, that's gonna depend on your situation, how many buildings are in the area, if you're in some empty field, things like that. You're probably not going to get that type of distance before seeing a disconnection with the remote and having this thing just automatically come back. The cool thing is that you do get about, well, they say 27 minutes of flight time. Now the battery here is just stored on the top of the Mavic, as you can see. And while they say 27 minutes, realistically you're gonna see about 21 to 24 minutes, somewhere in that range, depending on which mode you're in, how fast and hard you're flying this thing. There are a lot of factors involved there, but the controller will be beeping at you by that point and it'll wanna come back to its original takeoff spot, which is another great feature of this. If you lose connection with the remote or it's running out of battery, it'll automatically come back right to the point that it took off from, which is awesome. Now, as far as flying modes go, we do have quite a few options here within the app. You have normal flying mode, you can take it into sport mode. We do have some different trick shots that it can do, like hover around an object. There is a follow me mode, so you can have this drone kind of follow you as you're cruising down the road in a car or on a bike or things like that. And this thing is also very easy to fly. It's probably one of the easiest mid-range drones that you can pick up as far as flying goes, so that's definitely a win. So also with the controller here, we do have various buttons and controls around this thing. On the top, we have a button for record mode, we have a button to take a picture. We also have a dial here that will allow you to control the angle of the camera on the gimbal, whether that's up or down. And we have another dial here that'll allow you to control the shutter speed, or I believe you can map it out to do the ISO and stuff like that, but it allows you to adjust the exposure on the image coming from the camera. But overall, how does this actually perform in comparison to the Karma? Well, we're gonna fly these two later on in the video, so be sure to stay tuned for that. But this thing comes in at $999, and that's no joke to buy something that you just might occasionally fly. And for a consumer product, that's also a lot of money, but I mean, this thing is pretty awesome. Like I said, it's one of my favorite drones right now, and I'm very happy with my purchase of the Mavic Pro. Real quick though, big thanks to Audible for sponsoring this video, and if you need a new way to use some free time in the new year, Audible offers an unmatched selection of audiobooks and other audio products, and you can access content on iOS, Android, Fire tablets, or other MP3 players. Lately I've been listening to Rise of the Robots by Martin Ford, which talks about how tech like self-driving cars, drones, and other automation could someday make good jobs obsolete. It's pretty interesting, and I definitely recommend giving it a listen. That being said, Audible is offering you guys a free audiobook with a 30-day trial. Just visit audible.com/DomEsposito and browse their great selection of audio programs and download a title for free. Again, that's audible.com/DomEsposito. So next up, we're taking a look at the GoPro Karma, and well, as you can see, compared to the Mavic Pro, this thing is actually a lot bigger, which for me means a lot less travelable. The GoPro Karma is definitely a bigger drone, though it does compact into this nice little form factor here. The legs actually fold out like this, and you really should take off the propellers on this thing when putting it away. They actually just unscrew, they're threaded on here, so it's kind of easy to get them off and on. We have legs that fold out on the bottom as well, which is definitely a good thing. But this is it. So it's pretty big. Like, I'm not gonna lie, this is a pretty big thing here, but there are some benefits to the GoPro Karma over the Mavic Pro. So one of the biggest benefits here is actually what this thing comes in. We have a backpack actually to store the Karma in, to take it around and travel as you go. And so this thing is cool because it can really fit everything that you need inside of here, and you can take it with you anywhere, which is definitely a huge selling point because, well, the Mavic comes with no backpack, no bag or anything like that. You can purchase a DJI branded bag for around 89 bucks or something like that, but you're already getting more for your money right off the bat with this backpack. So one thing that I like about the Karma is the fact that it is semi-modular. The camera on the front looks very similar to a GoPro, and that is because, well, this is a GoPro Hero 5 Black that actually just snaps into this holster right here. You can pop it out and you can use this thing as just a standalone GoPro if you don't have one already, which is awesome. So with that being said, you're getting GoPro video quality out of this. And if you're not familiar with GoPro video quality, or you wanna find out more about the Hero 5 Black, I did a review on it not too long ago, and you can check out that link in the description. But with this, you have 4K video quality, there are some high frame rate settings, you have everything that you can hope for with a GoPro on a drone, which is awesome. Now, as I said, we do have this modularity aspect to the Karma, and right on the front here, the gimbal that's actually holding the GoPro can come right off. So if we twist that, you can actually pull the gimbal out and you have this freestanding gimbal. Why would you want that? Well, the Karma actually comes with what is the Karma Grip. And this thing is a standalone stabilizer for GoPros. So this actually just pops right in here, and you can go ahead and stabilize your GoPro footage on the fly with this thing, which is pretty awesome. If you go ahead and turn it on, you can see that instantly this thing will stabilize itself. The Grip has a built-in battery which will keep the GoPro going for quite some time. Now, another cool aspect of this is that this actually does come with hardware to attach it to a backpack, specifically the backpack that comes with the Karma. So you can actually have this thing riding on your shoulder as you're walking along, getting kind of a view of whatever you're seeing. It's very, very handy, and I like that you actually get this $300 accessory included with the price of the Karma and the GoPro Hero 5 Black. So real quick, let's take a look at the controller here. And as you can see, well, compared to the controller that comes with the Mavic Pro, this thing is a little bit bulkier. It's actually quite a bit bulkier, but that could be a good thing for some of you out there because it actually has a built-in touchscreen right here. And this is a very nice, crispy 720p display. It's about 5 inches, and you have the ability to kind of control everything from here. You can control the camera settings, the video mode, photo mode, things like that. You can actually control the moves that this thing can do. Now, one bad thing about the Karma is it does not feature a follow me mode. Now, I don't know if that's gonna come in a software update at some point in the future, but it's definitely a downside when considering that you do get that with the Mavic Pro. But one cool aspect, if you want to, is you can download the passenger app for the GoPro Karma, and you can fly the drone right here and have your friend actually control the camera with the passenger app. So like the Mavic Pro, we do have controls on the exterior of the controller. We can control the camera angle on the gimbal right here with this dial, and then on the other side we have a record button and we have a mode button to flip through the various modes on the GoPro there. Now inside of here we do have our little joystick controllers here to be able to fly the drone around. We have the power button, we have a start stop button, and then we have a landing button right here which will allow it to return to home, which is exactly what is featured on the Mavic controller as well. And then we have a battery indicator down here at the bottom. But like I said, this thing is pretty bulky. I mean, it's kind of a hefty controller, a little more to take into consideration compared to the Mavic Pro. So as you can see here, we do have the LED lights on, give you a good idea on how that compares to the Mavic Pro. And I do like this, nice and bright. You can see these very well in the night sky if you choose to fly in the evening or anything like that. And I mean, overall, this is a nice drone. It feels a little more plasticky, I guess, than the Mavic Pro, just because of the shiny parts right here, the shiny plastic, which is also going to be more scratch prone, I guess, but something to keep in mind. Now, as far as flying this thing goes, well, the maximum range here is about 1.86 miles, which is less than half of the theoretical range of the Mavic Pro. But again, you're not going to get that on this, I guarantee you, unless you're in some crazy open field. And it's actually 5 miles per hour slower than the Mavic Pro at 35 miles per hour. So that's definitely something to keep in mind. And this thing will actually only get you a max flight time of about 20 minutes. Now, that can be give or take depending on what you're doing as well. So you do have less battery life with the GoPro Karma, but with the camera here on the front, we do have the ability to control the angle from the controller. You can actually see what the camera is seeing on the screen here of the Karma controller, which is awesome. Now, if we go ahead and boot up the motors, this actually provides kind of like voice guidance as you're flying this thing if you need it or if you have it turned on. So if I go ahead and start the motors and hold down the start stop button,
2, 1.
You can hear it kind of counting down to where these are going to start up. And now this thing is on and ready to fly. And as you can probably hear, it's a lot quieter than the Mavic Pro when it starts up initially. Don't get me wrong though, this thing does fire up when you are actually flying it, and it gets a lot noisier, but that's, I don't know, kind of a benefit if you see it that way. It's a little quieter. All right, so now that we have the rundown between these two drones right here, let's take them out and fly them so you guys can see how they compare. final thoughts here. The Mavic footage by default is noticeably sharper than the GoPro. I'm sure you saw that, but that's really not a bad thing either way. It depends on what you're doing with the footage. Though the Karma doesn't hold its position as well as the Mavic Pro, and its flight time seems to be much less. The Mavic Pro is also a bit more agile than the Karma, which I tend to prefer, but on the other hand, you don't get a Hero 5 Black, the Karma Grip Stabilizer, or a carrying case with the Mavic. So which drone do you think is the better buy? I'm a bit undecided at this point. So that about wraps it up for this comparison. Which one of these guys do you think is the better drone? I think you get more for your money with the Karma, but the Mavic Pro is pretty awesome and compact for traveling, and I really like that about it. Now you can get the Mavic Pro for $999 or the GoPro Karma for $1099, but there are also other variations of this which are cheaper that don't include the Hero 5 and things like that. So you can go check those out, all linked in the description for you. Let me know what you think about this comparison video. Leave a thumbs up if you enjoyed it, and subscribe for more videos like this in the future. Thank you so much for watching, everyone. This is Dom, and I'll catch you in the next video.
3, 2, 1.
That cut me, dude. Like straight up cut me. It broke skin.